Change here for Victoria Line. This is a Northern Line train.
Hello and welcome to... Are you going to come up? Come here. Come on. Look, here's your pig. Maybe not. Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops, my little corner of the internet where I talk about the things that I'm knitting on and things that I've made. I'm getting on now. I think I've been knitting for 6 or 7 months, so I've been doing it for a little while and I've done it quite a bit. And this is really just to document my journey and to connect with the knitting community. I live in Hertfordshire, just outside of London. There is quite a bit going on knitting wise, but it all seems to fall when I'm either at work or at my other work. So yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm going to be sipping on a lovely chai. Oh, that's a bit of a wild. I'm going to have a lovely chai this morning. It is Wednesday. I tend to podcast once every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. I have already finished the washing that I needed to do and have run anything that's going to make noise. So hopefully there won't be too many distractions today. I have been a little bit under the weather, so yeah. I'm getting a bit better, she says, sniffling. That's just because it's cold. It is actually very cold in here today. I've got 2 pairs of socks on and, as you can see, a scarf, and I don't normally feel the need to wear that. So yeah, I guess let's jump in and talk about what I'm wearing. So this is my grain shawl, which is a free pattern from Tin Can Knits. I think I spoke about it in one of the first podcasts I ever recorded. I love this thing, it really gets worn quite a lot. And then secondly, this is a finished object that I haven't shown at all in progress. I cast it on Friday and finished it yesterday. I had no intention really of casting it on, but I managed to get hold of a few skeins of rail work, which I'm not sure if you're a new viewer you won't have heard me mention it before, but if you're a past viewer you might have heard me gush over it previously. I've fallen in love with this yarn company. I met the lovely, I believe her name was Christina, at Yarnporium back in November last year, and the story behind it was really nice. And actually the way it blooms is amazing and the way it feels is really lovely. I'm not prone to itching at all, but this is rustic but soft, and I love that it's in a completely natural colour. So this is a Ranunculus by Knit Midori Cafe. I can't remember the name of the designer behind it, but I've really loved knitting this pattern. It was quite quick. It's got a tubular cast on, which is really a nice touch. I'm thinking if I ever knitted this again I might actually just do a normal cast on and double it over, maybe just to keep it a little bit more robust. I think because of the bind off on the sleeves, it might add a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't. And the pattern work was really simple to do, just, you know, a couple of different stitches, and it adds something that makes it feel homemade without it, or handmade as opposed to homemade. It's not colour work, it's not busy, I can put anything on with it. I'm really pleased. It's a crop fit. I've got my mum jeans on, M&S Finest, the only place I seem to buy new clothing from. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with this, and I haven't blocked it, I just gave it a little steam. I've got a feeling I'm going to wear this a lot. I had a green jumper that I wanted to replace that's a similar fit, but the bell sleeves are just too big. I ended up holding on to them like this all last year, and so I can maybe try and cut that up or adjust it or pay it forward, pass it on to the charity shops. So yes, overall really pleased with this. I think it used just over 3 skeins, which is a bit more than the pattern called for. So I'm not sure, maybe I did a few extra rows on the body, or I did do the sleeves a lot longer than I anticipated, but I do really like that, because normally I'm a little bit of a nightmare for just getting a bit bored. And sorry, I'm not really looking at you today. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just, yeah. So yeah, enough of that. I will probably gush over it some more. 1 second. Don't really think it's a Wednesday morning podcast with some sort of interlude. So yeah, I'm back again. It's so nice and warming. It really is cold here. I'm not sure if it's cold anywhere else, but we've had a few really quite warm days, and then it's plummeted. But I think we don't often have heating on. We don't have proper central heating in this house. We've got underfloor heating just in the living room and the kitchen, and nowhere else has heating. But we have turned that underfloor heating off, and that's probably what it is. And yeah, my second finished object was, it didn't take as long as I anticipated, and it might have been because it was, how do I explain? So colour work to me has become, it's very therapeutic, but I notice that I do have to pay attention, which is kind of obvious. And just with my brain being a bit foggy at the moment, it's taking a bit more effort than it was a few months back. So I've been working on this more than I anticipated, and therefore it's finished, just because it was so simple, back and forth. It was worked flat, and this is my cardigan. I'll try and put some pictures up as well. It's been worn a lot. I finished it last week, so it's already a little bit, it's not peeling as such, but the suri's starting to do its thing where it's sort of felting together a little bit. So this was a pattern that I made up myself. It's not the fanciest thing, it's not perfect by any means, but I really am pleased. It's very simple, raglan, worked back and forth, so I didn't steek it or anything, it was worked back and forth, which is novel. I have done pockets, and I did just a row of pearl stitches on the bottom just to stop it rolling as much on the bottom. I wanted the front edges and the collar to roll. I wanted it to be a really simple cardigan where it had no fuss. I can put it on with everything, and by goodness I have. I've worn it over my pyjamas as like the softest dressing gown. I've worn it out quite a lot. And I was a bit gutted that I didn't get to wear it for my granddad's 80th, but you know, it's fine. So yeah, this was a yarn that I dyed up myself, the darker colour that you can see, held with, you can always see someone peeking through, it's quite funny when you show a close-up, with Nimbus by Driscollion Yarns, which is based in Wales, I believe, and that is their Nimbus in Ash Rose. So it is their brushed suri base with, which is alpaca, I believe it's mulberry silk, and it's a little bit finer than the one that I'd previously used. So you get 300 meters per skein. So I have probably a skein left, which I might make up a belt for it just because I've got it, and I'm thinking I'm going to wear it for a little bit longer. I really like the way the neck falls, it's just there, it doesn't really hold. But I wonder if in the future, because it's alpaca and it is quite a big project, whether it might stretch and I might need to do something about the neck. But I do have spare yarn for that, so that's quite good. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Enough on that, I guess. I've been quite monogamous, or tried to be. I actually had no intention of casting this on until the big project was finished, which is Monica's lovely jumper. But I think because the jumper, I really do want to pay attention, I want to get it right. I have to have a few projects on the go, that I can, you know, do and knit when I'm with other people, maybe on the trains, where I don't, you know, where I've got something else going on in my head and my hands can just be, you know, knitting away. But this I cast on for that reason, and it just flew off the needles because I spent quite a bit of time with other people, which is a nice thing to do. So yeah, I haven't got the most progress to show, but I will show you it again, the progress on Monica's lovely, I keep calling it Brambling Woman, just because I can imagine Monica being quite happy in the brambles, picking the blackberries, wearing this. So it's still in her new home, a lovely Duckpool Lane bag, which is keeping it a lot nicer, I must say, and a lot easier to move around the house than the cardboard box. So I am almost through the chart pattern that I have been working on, and it has grown. It's got quite a few inches now from the separation for the sleeves. I'm really pleased with how it's knitting up. I was a bit concerned, I did talk about the colour choices, but I really love it now. I'm really happy. Let's see if I can show you it from the front. I won't spend too long on it. Here we go. So it really is growing. There was, once this chart repeat's done, and that's this bit, I believe it's 20,000 stitches, so, or thereabouts. So I will be pleased. I think 5 more rows and this chart will be done, and I'll feel like I've really made big progress. I'm hoping more than anything that this thing fits and that she loves it as much as I've enjoyed knitting on it. And this is something that I will be working on a bit more. So this is Rambling Woman by Caitlin Hunter, who is having a design sale at the moment. I think it's about 30% off. So it's a very good time to invest in one of her patterns if you're interested. I really love them. I found them very easy to work from. The charts are big and bold, which is great. And I knitted this up all in West Yorkshire Spinners, which is, as far as commercial yarns go, it's one of my favourite yarns I've worked with. The Jacob in particular is what I'm completely drawn to, completely natural colours. But for a bit of fun, the Croft base, which I believe is maybe an Aran weight as opposed to a DK, but it knits up fine with the DK for me. I think. And that is, I believe, printed. So I've had to purchase another skein of this light purpley colour, which I believe is called Clouster, and because it's printed as opposed to dyed by hand, it's the same every time, so it's completely replicatable and the speckles are the same. So it's kind of handy if you're drawn to speckles and things, but you are maybe more into being you know, not having to worry about alternating skeins or anything like that. This is Croft by West Yorkshire Spinners is a good thing to have or use. Look at this little tuft. I think I'm a cockatoo or something today. Sorry, try not to be too loud. And because it has been so cold, and I'm making progress on that, and I needed something slightly smaller. I didn't need, but I wanted to knit something slightly smaller, and my hands keep getting cold. So I decided to cast on a pair of mittens, but I'm knitting them one at a time, which is very sensible, and it's living in my little tea and quilt bag, which has definitely seen it's put in some work already. And I don't have very much to show, but as you can see I've been doing other things quite a bit. So these, it will be the Effie Mittens by Skeined Knits. So yeah, it's got a cute little Latvian braid, and I've done a little bit of the cuff chart. Not very far into it, only sort of 15 rows or so. But this, I found that Ellie's patterns are quite rhythmic to me, so I can actually knit this while I'm talking to other people. So this hopefully will come along quite quickly. But knowing my luck, I'll finish them just before spring really starts to kick in, and it'll be I won't need them for a year, but that's fine. I'd rather have them and enjoy knitting on them without rushing, so I'm going to put some time into these. Yeah, that's the Effie pattern, which was part of her second mitten club, and I'm just using, for the first time, Jameson and Smith, which is, and I'm using Jameson and Smith, which is 100% Shetland wool. They don't have very fancy names. The light one is shade 27, and the dark one is 81. They feel lovely. I say it, Tammy, I'm really not sensitive to rustic wool. I find this still fairly soft. It's really nice to work with. It's toothy. It does stick to each other. It is inspiring me to want to steek a cardigan. So maybe that's something for the future. See how it, how it knits up. I've only obviously done this much, but it does feel, it's really quite soft, and I love it on this smaller gauge. It's a nice dense fabric, which I was a bit concerned with because I know that I'm a bit of a chilled out knitter. I knit quite loosely. When I was at Yarnporium and I was sat next to a lady on, I did a British breed yarn tasting, which wasn't entirely British, and I won't go back into that again, but we were both knitting on the same needles, and her swatch was maybe this big, and my swatch was like this. I was like, wow. So I have started to tighten up, and I've noticed more and more I'm meeting gauges that are suggested by certain designers, that Caitlin Hunter being one. This I actually knit up on a whole millimetre smaller, and it's still oversized and quite large. I don't know if well, this is a DK weight yarn. Sorry, I'm tangenting. And the pattern was written for worsted, so whether, because it was DK, this is translated quite well, going down a needle size. I'm not sure. And then, so if I'd have done it at 6mm at a worsted weight, I'd have had something of very similar size. I guess gauge is the best way to tell, but as you might be able to tell, snuggling into it. And that's, I mean, I did cast on another test knit, but I'll show you anyway because I've mentioned it now, but I literally have done 2 rows, and this is going to be my, I can't even concentrate, I can't do colour work, I just have to knit. So this is for the lovely Emily of Blue Mouse Yarns, and I will talk about it a bit more once I've got a bit more done. And I'm going to be using Caviar in merino singles. That is really blowing out. It is a lot darker than that. Let's bring it all the way back. Yeah, that's more like it. Looks great, doesn't it? Little floating yarn ball. Yeah, so this is Caviar on our merino singles base at King Fibre or Ching Fibre. Yeah, so they're the projects. Oh, tired. I did treat myself a little bit because I didn't go to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I speak about her a little bit. Katie Green of the Green Bean podcast, who used to work at Blacker Yarns, which is another company that I really love the yarn that they produce, and Katie designed the first pattern for a jumper that I ever knit, and yeah, I got a bit excited when I realised that I can actually communicate with Katie in real life, which is really cool. So when she shared a few projects that she was working on for the festival, I knew that I really would like to have those things in my home. So first one, I have been a bit scared. I've left it, and I might leave it in just in case it's wrapped. But I have bought the British Breeds poster. Hi. And it's gorgeous. It is black and white. It's still in its tissue, just because I want to keep it nice until I can frame it. It's an A3 print, and she's done a scratch card of all of the sheeps and their names. It's very cute. I was very pleased with that. So I bought that, and then also, I seem to have developed a little bit of an affinity for Jacob sheep, in that I have knitted a lot of Jacob fleece in my short time compared to other things that I've knitted. So Katie is selling these beautifully packaged brooches, and I purchased the Jacob one. It comes with its own little bit of fleece to live in, and it is so cute. I'm gonna be brave and start wearing it. Realise that I can get precious about things and just look at them. Well, not precious, but aware that I'm a bit of a klutz and likely to break things. So I will be wearing this. Life's too short. I may as well take it out for a walk and enjoy it. And look how happy that little Jacob is. It makes me so pleased. So yeah, pop him on. Beautiful. Katie Green is a very talented lady, and I'm a bit gutted that I didn't get to go and have a little chat with her, but I'm very pleased to have a little bit of Edinburgh Yarn Festival here in my home. So yeah, that's the knitting chat done. Stop umming. I'm a little bit cloudy in the brain still. So not this weekend, last weekend we went to Walberswick for my granddad's 80th, and I will pop in a little bit of footage of that. It was really nice. It was a few of us that are unwell. It wasn't too much of a late one for the slightly older generations. I'm now classing myself as a slightly older generations because I was probably the youngest one that just wanted to go to bed quite early, even though it was lovely to see everyone. I knew that on the Sunday we were going to have a Sunday lunch together, and there was 4 generations of mothers there, which was quite cool. Well, 4 generations and 3 generations of mothers, I should say. And we sat down and had a family lunch, so no one felt too bad about really wanting to go to bed at sort of midnight. And then this weekend, what did we do Saturday? Oh, I went and did a bit of learning on Saturday, which I'll talk about more in the future. Again, I don't like to leave things ambiguous, but I will. And then Sunday, we went and did something slightly off the beaten track. So I put our names into a ballot to win tickets to go to a brewery tour locally, which we've done quite a few of them, and also to go and see the paper mill, which is in Frogmore, Apsley. And that was really fun. It was quite interesting, just finding out about again, it's a process. I really find processes quite interesting. The process of how paper's made and how it's changed over time, and what spurred it on and how it was spread through the continents. It was China that first created paper. It was really quite a nice little thing that we did, so I'll pop some footage in of that if you'd like to have a little watch. If not, thank you so much for joining me. It's lovely as always to connect and have a little chat about what I've been doing and what you've been doing. I hope you have a lovely few weeks no matter what you're doing. Always feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions or ideas or projects that you'd like to talk about. That'd be great. I hope you have a lovely one, and let's speak again soon. Take care.
And the surprise is you're putting off this lot of yours tonight.
Oh. Go get the dog. Mia's just gone.
Hey, nice jacket. I wonder who bought that jacket.
She does suit yellow.
Very good.
Tony's eaten over 29,000 breakfasts and 58,000 dinners.
No wonder you're just...
This evening,
Yeah, he's Next time he comes down though.
Medium.